Hi there, my name is Alan Lamont. This video is about the new Pope of Rome, who is a Jesuit, and I was actually 99.9% convinced that actually Peter Turkson would become the Pope of Rome simply because of his very strong connections with the Black Pope Adolfo Nicholas, the superior Jesuit general. But of course what they've done is they've put a Jesuit in power to be the Pope of Rome, and this Pope of Rome, George Bergoglio, is a Jesuit from Argentina, a High Jesuit. And the cardinals of the Vatican did not elect him in the conclave, of course not. He is a High Jesuit from Argentina, and he will lead the world's 1.2 billion Catholics now, and he is the first ever from America, the first from outside Europe in more than a millennium. And I'd like to give some history about this man, really, just so people understand who he is. He was born on the 17th of December 1936, and he is the 266th Pope, and obviously he is the current Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, elected on the 13th of March 2013, and he will be the Sovereign Pontiff of Vatican City. From 1998 until his election as Pope, this man served as the Archbishop of Buenos Aires and was created Cardinal in 2001 by Pope John Paul II. Francis speaks Spanish, Italian, Latin and German fluently. And also he is the first Jesuit, so-called, and the first Latin American to be named Pope. When in fact, actually, I just want to give some, understanding here. Every Pope of Rome has been ruled by the Jesuit order. There's only one in the last few decades that really rebelled against the Society of Jesus, and that was John Paul I, who obviously was poisoned during the P2 Masonic scandal, with McKinkis and all of the corruption that was going on with all of the banks around Europe, he was poisoned by the Jesuit order. But every Pope of Rome has been ruled by the Jesuits now. The Jesuits cannot hide the fact that there's so much exposure on them. So what they're doing now is they're playing a different tact. They're just putting a Jesuit directly out in front now, as head of the Vatican Church. They're not even hiding it anymore, It's not even covert anymore. It's overt. It's out in the open that the Jesuits ruled the papacy. So this new Pope of Rome, obviously, as I've said, he was born, George Bergoglio was born in Buenos Aires. He was one of 5 children of Italian immigrants who was a railway worker. And he received a master's degree in chemistry at the University of Buenos Aires and then studied at the seminary in Villa Devoto, and he entered the Society of Jesus, the Jesuit order, on the 11th of March 1958. This man is a High Jesuit. I mean, really, he's at the top of the power structure. As I've said, he entered the Society of Jesus, the Jesuit order, on the 11th of March 1958. And he taught literature and psychology in Santa Fe, Buenos Aires. Obviously, he has a pre-papal career. I mean, he was ordained to the priesthood on the 13th of December 1969, and he attended a Jesuit university and a seminary, and he attended the position of novice master there and became professor of theology. Novice just means a low-level Jesuit, obviously. And he began to rise within the leadership of the Society of Jesus, and he was promoted into the position of a High Jesuit. And he served as a Jesuit provincial for the province of Argentina from 1973 to 1979. So this man has been rising within the Jesuit order since 1953, and as I've just said, to clarify, he was the Jesuit provincial for the whole of Argentina from 1973 to 1979. Then he was transferred in 1980 to become the rector of the seminary in San Miguel, where he studied and served in that capacity until 1986, and then he completed his doctoral dissertation in Germany and returned to his homeland to serve as confessor and spiritual director in Cordoba. And Bergoglio was named Bishop of Buenos Aires in 1992, and he was ordained on the 27th of June 1992 as Bishop of Huaca, with His Eminence Cardinal Quiracchio, Archbishop of Buenos Aires, serving as principal consecrator. He also succeeded Cardinal Quaracino as Archbishop of Buenos Aires on the 28th of February 1998. Okay, there's a lot of information I could give, but what I want to say is that obviously since 1953 this new Pope of Rome joined the Jesuit order, and obviously is well known by everybody that this man is a high Jesuit. So this revelation on the internet that the Jesuits rule the popes of Rome and the Jesuits rule the Vatican, it is the truth, but now it's known. Now it's known, okay? And this is not the first Jesuit pope. This is not the first Pope of Rome to be a Jesuit, but it's the first Pope of Rome who has been proved to be a very, very high provincial within the Jesuit order. So this is it, The Jesuits are no longer in the shadows, okay? It's clear for all to see that the Jesuits rule the Vatican completely. They run the papacy. They rule the papacy. They control the Holy See. And of course, Bergoglio was elected, obviously, on 13th of March 2013 of this year, on the second day of the papal conclave, taking the name of Francis. The Pope is after Francis of Assisi. That's where his official papal title comes from, Francis of Assisi, so Pope Francis. You will hear a lot about this, saying that he is the first Jesuit priest chosen to be Pope. That is deception, As I've said, every Pope of Rome for hundreds of years has been a Jesuit. But obviously he is the first Pope from America and from the New World in the South Hemisphere. But he is also the first non-European Pope, actually, in over 1,200 years. The last non-European Pope was St. Gregory III, who was born in Syria and reigned from 731 to 741. Okay, I'm just going to bring some revelation on this, and then I'm going to close, really. I mean, when you look at who was to be elected in the conclave, I mean, there was a few candidates there who were actually, high Jesuits anyway. Peter Turkson, is a high Jesuit. That's the truth of it. That's why I was convinced he would be the Pope of Rome. But nevertheless, Pope Francis is now Pope of Rome, a Jesuit of the high fourth vow, serving the Black Pope. So once again, the Jesuit general rules the Vatican. But this is very, very significant, the fact that they're now out in the open. They've never ever before actually brought out the revelation that the Jesuits run the popes of Rome and rule the Vatican, but now they have. And I do believe there's a reason for that, because there's so much exposure on the fact that the Jesuits actually control the papacy. They rule the cardinals, the bishops, the popes of Rome, all the archdioceses across the earth, and obviously through that they rule, through the Jesuit provincials, all governments across the earth. I just think now it's actually become comical, the fact that every time a president, every time a queen, every time a head of state goes to the Vatican and bows in subordination to the Pope, they're bound before a Jesuit provincial under orders of the fourth vow to the Black Pope. Come on now. It's in plain sight now. It's not a theory anymore, okay? So I'm interested to see what the Jesuits are going to be doing over the next few years through this Jesuit provincial Pope of Rome, under orders to his Jesuit general. Okay, so actually, it's actually, you know, in one way, it's turned out to be more damaging for the Jesuits. They're playing a devious game here, but it's going to backfire. It's going to backfire as people go deeper into this research about the real New World Order and the fact that every government upon this earth is ruled by Jesuit provincials. And here we have a Jesuit provincial, you know, who has been in the Society of Jesus since 1953 and has been a previous high Jesuit provincial who is now the Pope of Rome. You know, here we have it. You know, it's no longer in the shadows, but it's now in the light of day for all to see. Okay? And George Bergoglio is the new Pope Francis, a high Jesuit of the Jesuit order. And so here we have it. I've been saying for a long time, for the last few years, that the Jesuits control the Vatican. And the Black Pope is the Pope of Rome, not previous Pope Benedict, or John Paul II, or John Paul I, or, you know, Pope Paul, or Pope John, or all of these popes of Rome. They are merely just actually figureheads, you know, for the Black Pope, Adolfo Nicholas currently, and Hans Kaltenbach. And this is the chain of command in the Vatican. Okay? You have the Black Pope, you have his Jesuit Council, High Jesuit Council, and you have the High Jesuit Provincials that rule over the Vatican. But now it's in the open, as I've said. It's no longer a secret, it's no longer in the shadows. And I'm glad they've done this. I truly am glad that the Jesuits have put in power a Jesuit provincial, because now, you know, they can be exposed clearly, you know. That's the truth. That's the truth. But this man, Pope Francis, he answers to the Jesuit general, the Black Pope. He is a high Jesuit provincial, and he is the one that will rule over the Catholic sovereigns, and he is the one that rules over the presidents all across the earth. But instead of this being covert control now, instead of the Jesuit provincials doing it in secret, now they're doing it right in the open, right in our face, you know. They're not hiding anymore. The Jesuits are coming out in the open and, you know, sending a clear message that they are in control, and now they're making it known. My name is Alan Lamont, thanks for listening, and as always, all roads lead to Rome.